All right, we're going to have shout-outs. We got some good contributions here today. Thank you guys to those who contributed. Remember, that's at the end of the show. However, now it is time to talk basically about something that has come together out of nowhere. It never really... okay, allow me to just start from the beginning. Many years ago, before I was ever a YouTuber, when I was getting into internet culture in the late 2000s, and I was starting to become a gamer again, because remember, I told you guys that I was mostly into competitive Street Fighter, and then around 2007, I stopped being a competitive Street Fighter player, and I wanted to get back into mainstream gaming. So I started playing console games again, and I started immersing myself with gaming culture on the internet, and, you know, the Angry Video Game Nerd was all the rage at the time, and he was partnered with a group of guys called Screw Attack. You know about Screw Attack if you watched my Pro Jared documentary, because they were a big part of it. That whole early years of Pro Jared, he was part of them, okay? So back then, they were a major gaming site on the internet, and I hung out with the guys from Screw Attack. I actually went to MagFest 2007 before I was ever a YouTuber, and I hung out with these guys the whole time, and, you know, played games with them, did video skits with them. I actually was on a rock band panel as a judge for people doing rock band performances, along with one of the main guys of the Screw Attack business called Stuttering Craig. We were both judges on the same panel. And I joined Team Screw Attack for a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 tournament. Yes, the original Modern Warfare 1. And we got second place in the team tournament. Okay, I think it was 4v4. So, I have history with those guys from way back when. Fast forward to me being a YouTuber. Now I'm prominent on YouTube from the years of like 2010 to like 2013. I'm known as one of the top gaming YouTubers for a while there. And basically in 2013, I was trying to branch out and attend conventions and things. And one of the ones that I attended was Screw Attack Gaming Convention. Back then, they were doing their own annual convention held in Texas. And there was basically open registration if you wanted to try to be a guest at the show. And I reached out to the staff there, and I was like, hey, I'm interested in being a guest at your show. I'd like to have a table, which I'll pay for. And actually, did I say no? Because I think the guests got a table for free. It's been a decade. I don't remember the ins and outs of it. But I want a table in the vendor area, because at that point we were working on the Project 7 show, and I wanted to kind of shield it a little bit, you know, advertise it there. I wanted to do, you know, a panel for my viewers who were going to attend, and also there was an Iron Man of Gaming tournament that they were going to hold, that I was going to be a participant in. And I was like, man, I know I'm pretty good at video games. You know, being a YouTuber, I'm playing all kinds of games, and I know that I could probably do pretty well at this tournament, okay? So basically, it was a really cool convention I attended. I met Stuttering Craig again, you know, for the second time. He's like, of course I remember hanging out at MagFest with you, you know, all those years ago. Of course, I looked totally different in 2013. Now I'm a YouTuber, I'm known. And he's like, all right, yeah, it's awesome having you here. And, you know, had some interactions with him. Even I was in the finals of the Iron Man of Gaming tournament. I was on stage playing DuckTales, the remake. Remember 10 years ago they did DuckTales HD remake? I was on stage playing it. And I got my ass beat, because it wasn't about surviving. It was about getting gems, which I didn't know where the hell the gems were in the game, so I lost. But it was fun. It was a fun thing to do, and it was really nice. And I've told you guys over the years that Stuttering Craig was one of the guys that, like, over the years, every interaction I ever had with the guy was a nice one. He seems like the nicest guy, one of the nicest guys I've ever met, completely cordial, welcoming, you know, didn't care. In 2013, I had haters. I don't know if you guys realize this. In 2013, the This Is How You Don't Play movement had already begun. And the fact that he wanted to have me I wanted to be a guest, and he accepted me as a guest at his convention. People were like, why are you doing that? Don't you understand? That's Dark Side Phil. He's becoming the joke of the internet. You don't want him. To which he would basically respond, and he'd be like, no, you know, you guys are ridiculous. Like, this guy is someone who's a go-getter. He made his own YouTube channel. You know, that's to be respected. The content, you know, people like it. What's the problem? He didn't get it back then, you know. And then, you know, admittedly, back then, that's when the drama was just kind of starting, you know, 10 years ago, right? So, after that, I mean, I literally have not talked to this guy for about a decade, okay? And then, about a year and a half ago, I got wind that basically he'd been through the ringer. Apparently, he had sold Screw Attack to Full Screen, this company that was a partnership company on YouTube. And then basically Screw Attack fell completely apart and was disintegrated. Then he started another company called Game Attack. That was successful for a couple of years, but then he ended up leaving that for various reasons. Then he tried to do his own thing on the internet, start up his own channel with podcasts and shows. But basically after like 15 years of being someone in the game space, he decided that it was time to move on and do something different with his life. And that was like a year and a half ago when he made that announcement. I talked about it on this show, only it wasn't this show at the point. It was different. I think it was still the pre-stream. And I was like, it's sad to see people like that go, because this is a guy who's been a mainstay. And, I'm sure today he's, you don't think, who says, what's Screw Attack, right? No one even remembers what it is. But, for him to have been in the game space for so long and basically been so prominent, and now he was kind of retiring from games, I was very sad. Genuinely very sad to see him go. Even though I hadn't followed him for a decade, like, dude, I don't like hearing that news. I want people to stay doing what they love, and it sounded to me really weird. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, he came back earlier this year last year, and started doing full-time gaming stuff again. And I've been following him a little bit. Like, I've been watching some of the stuff he puts out. He was doing a gaming news show, not a gaming news show, just a general news show for a while and stuff like that. And there was this big announcement. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, guys, as of this point, so me recording, this is the 50-minute mark. All right. Timestamp the 50-minute mark of the Level 1 podcast from March 3rd, 2023, because this is basically me addressing the whole situation about me appearing on the Side Scrollers podcast. My official response, and actually I would appreciate it if either Craig or someone on his staff could watch this to know my official response and how I'm approaching this, okay? Because I think they should know this up front, everything, okay? So, Craig started up his old podcast again. It used to be called Side Scrollers, and it was a podcast they used to do on ScrewAttack.com, over a decade ago. And it was very popular, and it was very well known among the game space back then, before even the prominence of YouTube and all of that. Okay, so when he announced he was reviving the show, it was very exciting. All the long-standing fans of Screw Attack, they used to be called the G1s. Now they call themselves the G2s. Wow, we're excited. The podcast is coming back. And it wasn't just, it's just me talking. Like, my podcast is me gabbing, right? This podcast is a panel of people, different kinds of people, guests coming in, covering news, covering other topics. It's a good podcast. I've been watching every episode since the show relaunched. I'm really enjoying the show. I recommend you look at it. If you're looking for a fun, variety-style gaming podcast with other topics addressed as well, yes, occasionally a little bit of politics gets thrown in there, but not too much. Give it a look. Side Scrollers. Okay? That's the name of the show. So, I've been watching the show or whatever. Out of the blue, I haven't mentioned this at all on stream. I'm not talking about Craig or anything on stream or anything like that, right? Out of the blue, Stuttering Craig emails me. Says, hey, Phil, so we're relaunching. This is before they relaunched the show, by the way. We're relaunching the show, and we'd like to have you on as a guest. You're actually one of the people whose names popped up because we have history from back in the day, and it would be great to have you on as like a guest on the show. We have rotating guests, and we'd like you on for a show to see how it goes. So I thought about it, and I watched, basically, I kind of knew what the show was going to be, and I responded, and I was like, well, I guess that sounds interesting. I wish you the luck with the show. I'd like to see how the show goes this coming week, and what kind of a show it's going to be, but it sounds interesting to me, something different. I told you guys, I like doing different stuff now. I'm venturing out. I very much don't want to be just in my same lane doing the same kind of content forever. I feel like maybe this is an opportunity to go talk to a different audience. They probably have no idea who I am, or if they do, they only know it from the negative memes and the hate, right? They don't know who Darkside Phil really is. So to have me on a show where we're going to be not only talking about me, but addressing other topics and having a fun variety show is probably a really interesting idea, right? So I responded to him and I said, well, thanks for reaching out. Yeah, I might be interested. Let's talk a little bit more. And so where we basically left it was, I was going to be, it was scheduling too, because I told him I was launching my DSP Reacts channel in February. I said, I'm going to be focused on that in February, so I really don't want to take any time away from any of my stuff right now. So what I'd like to do is wait a little bit, and then maybe we could do it late February, March, or whatever. So we talked back and forth, and we kind of established, okay, it's probably going to be sometime in March that I'll probably appear on the show. And that's where we left it for a while, like a week or two, kind of just hung there. And then finally, we started talking again. And, Craig was like, well, let's have you on the show, and let's do kind of an episode where we talk about not only you, because we want to give you time to talk about yourself, and obviously there's going to be questions and stuff, but also, do a full show with you on. And we kind of determined roughly it would be around the middle of March. That's what we determined, okay? I was like, okay, that sounds good to me. That gives me time to mess around, with my setup, because the thing is, if I'm going to be on their show, I got to accommodate the show. I want to mess around with my setup here, make sure that it would work with how they're doing their show and everything. You know, so all sounds good to me. All right. Now, I outright said to him, in the email back, all right, and I'm not reading it word for word, but I'm paraphrasing here. I basically said, listen, you got to understand something. I have a giant hate mob following me around the internet. So if I appear on your show, there's going to be drama. I say, you might not even want, I said, to my audience, my plan is, I don't even want to really promote it. I would rather have it be like a surprise where I'm on a show and then I can say, hey guys, by the way, go watch me on the show right now. It's live. And then they could go check out the show and watch it on demand after. This would prevent any kind of hateful drama or buildup around the show, because it would be kind of a surprise appearance, and that way it would avoid the nonsense. There'd be no harassment of anyone or anything, right? So that's how I was talking about it, going along with it, all right? But, you know, I guess, you know, they wanted to do it however they want to do it. It's their show. They can do whatever they want. And, you know, unbeknownst to me, earlier this week, I guess, since they were starting March, what is it? Today's March 3rd, so 2 days ago. You know, they announced that, hey, a potential guest on this show for this month is going to be Dark Side Phil. And when they said that, it took a little while, but you know how the internet is. It took, you know, a little bit, but the word started to spread. They're like, what? Oh, what? He's going to be on the show. Now, here's the thing, and this is what these guys didn't know. And this is what I feel like I should fully disclose to the internet for full explanation purposes, because I don't want anyone to feel like they're getting burnt here. If you remember many months ago, back in like the fall, there was a period where there was a bunch of prominent YouTubers who were kind of ragging on me constantly, and it really irked me the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way. Because here's the thing. If you want to talk about me in a negative light, that's fine, but then give me a fair shake. No one wants to do that. Everyone wants to name drop me in a very toxic negative light, referencing all the memes, all the tropes, all the nonsense, but no one actually wants to talk to me. Instead, they just want to do... We were just watching the Pro Jared documentary, correct? And what did Pro Jared say? For 3 months, everyone just literally crapped on me, but no one ever reached out to me to talk to me about these things. Instead, it was just crap on him. Who cares? He's the whipping boy of the internet. Now, that was 3 months for Pro Jared. That was 3 months for Pro Jared. For me, it's been 10 years. Okay? 10 years of people constantly just dumping. When does anyone reach out to me and say, we would like to give you your fair shake? Let's talk to you. Let's get it from the perspective of the person who's being shit on all the time, right? To get his side. Never. Never has that happened. The one person who reached out to me over the years was the Quartering. I was on his show. I answered literally every question, and he got crapped on. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, that was an awful interview. Why was he on the show? It was a waste of everyone's time. Why? Because he didn't eviscerate me. He didn't sit there and make fun of me. He didn't sit there and be nasty to me. He didn't sit there and essentially make demands of me that were unrealistic. He was just trying to have me as a guest, right? And ask questions, which I answered. My answers, whether they're satisfactory to you or not, are for you to judge. But, you know, basically, I guess to him it was like a waste of time. And he ended up, I almost feel like he feels like he ended up being the worst for having done the interview. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could get that from him. Someone could ask him, how does he feel about it? But I almost feel like people dumped on him for doing the interview, but not eviscerating me during the interview, correct? Since then, I have not done a single interview. No one's asked until this last fall when I got pissed off about the entire internet dumping on me. And I said, if you want to dump on me, actually talk to me. Do it, and let's have a fair time where we can go back and forth. And if you really have questions or whatever, let's do it. Let's talk. And I'll be honest, yes, there were a lot of people who reached out. YouTubers, prominent YouTubers with millions plus subs. People who have drama shows. All kinds of shit. Okay? And ultimately, after talking with all these people, I kind of narrowed it down to 2 people who I feel would be very trustworthy people to do a full in-depth expose style project with. It wouldn't just be, oh, Phil is interviewed. It would be someone wants to actually cover the entire situation fairly from all perspectives. All right? But ultimately, by the time that I got to the point where I came to that decision, no one really cared anymore. all that bullshit had died down. The name drops, negative name drops stopped. I stopped addressing. I've hopefully done a good job in the last couple of months or 3 months. I guess it was like November-ish when this happened. So you figure, 3.5, 4 months. I've done my best to stop addressing the bullshit on my streams. When someone tries to bait me with some bullshit, this guy said this about you. What do you think? Or here's a topic that will obviously inadvertently get you to talk about something you weren't intending. What do you think? I just say, oh, look, it's a troll thing. Bye. And I think a lot of people are pissy about that. Oh, why doesn't he read it? Because it's just bait. It's just bait, and I'm not going to fall for the bait anymore. As I've told you guys, my intention is to make content for my audience. It is curated content for a small audience. I have no aspirations to be a giant, prominent YouTuber, to be filthy rich, to have millions of views. I don't care about any of that. I just want to be able to make content I enjoy and my viewers enjoy in a space where we can all enjoy each other's company in a social aspect, period. That's it. I don't care about any of the other white noise around it at all. It has nothing to do with me. I don't care about any of it. Okay, I'm not even involved in it. So, since things are going good, why rain on that parade? Why poke a hornet's nest when the hornets have calmed down, right? So I talked with a couple different people who still are very, very interested in working with me on doing something large scale and having my actual involvement along the way. I'm down for that at some point when I feel it is the right time for that. You will see that. I promise you, because these are people who are good people, nice people who don't necessarily love me. But they're people who I feel like if they wanted to really do a full, people always say, will you do a biography? Like, that's literally what it would be. It would be like covering me and my history as an internet content creator from start to finish. Every rise and every fall, every mistake, but every triumph. Being fair, as opposed to, oh, every negative thing and that's it. Both perspectives, you see? So I'm down for that when it's the right time. Now is not the right time, in my opinion. I'm busy now. I'm starting a new channel. I got all this stuff going on in my life. I'm not doing that right now, okay? So that's basically what's been going on, and that's it. Now I'm focused on my own stuff. So when I got offered to be on this podcast out of the blue, I didn't solicit it or anything. I was like, oh, this could be something neat to do for variety or whatever. It's certainly not what I was looking to do with that. It's something completely different. I want to hang out on the show with these guys, talk about news topics, be a little silly. It's a fun show. So on March 1st, 2 days ago, they just casually say, oh, this guy's going to be on our show this month. And that was it. And I knew it. I knew if they did this is what would happen. Of course, all the haters, all the trolls, all the detractors, they come out of the woodwork. They start flooding their show on a daily basis. What are you going to ask? Are you going to bring up this? Are you going to bring up that? And it's all the same misinformation as always. It's literally the same parroted stuff because these people have not come up with anything new in years. It's always the same shtick now. It's not even, it used to be, they used to go through these sagas, right? It used to be, first it's this is how you don't play saga. Then it's the DDoS getting swatted, getting false copyright saga. Then it was the taxes saga. Then it was the bankruptcy saga, the escort saga. They think my life is an anime. It's not, but they think it is. That's how they treat it. They think that doing shit like that is somehow like acceptable. It's not. It's very, very messed up. Okay? So to them, this is another saga. To me, I just wanted to be on a show and have fun and kind of hang out and have a good time with a bunch of guys or gals or whoever they have on the show that day, and have a good time, something different. Instead, within one day, 24 hours, the whole thing gets blown up into drama. What drama questions will you ask Phil? Okay? So, I get wind of this, and I'm like, well, I knew it was going to happen. I knew if they mentioned it, this was going to happen. I'm not stupid. It's only happened every other time. So, I've been going back and forth with Craig, and this morning, Craig read an email on the show, his show, Side Scrollers. You can watch it. It's live right now over on their channel. He read the email. It's word for word the email that I'd sent him. But in a nutshell, here's the deal. Craig feels pressured by the internet that if he's going to have me on as a guest, it can't just be a normal show where we shoot the shit for 5 minutes and then they're on to topics and things. It has to be about me. I don't like that. I'll be honest. I had no intention of this being the DSP show. It's supposed to be Side Scrollers with special guest DSP. But because these people completely decide to dominate every aspect of anything to do with me on the internet, it seems like, again, I can't enjoy things other people can enjoy. Anyone else can go on a podcast and be a fun special guest, but not Phil. Phil can't have the fun things everyone else has. I can't have a sponsor because these people go and harass the sponsor. I can't have a fun appearance on a show. It's not fair. It's just not. I'm upset. I am genuinely upset, and I'm not upset with Craig or the hosts of the Side Scroller Show. I'm not. I'm upset with the situation that's created itself on the internet that I try to separate myself from every moment. It's like, oh, here's a chance where I can actually do something that a normal person would do. Oh, that's not allowed for Phil. Phil has to still be the whipping boy. He has to be treated like shit, you know. And I'm tired of it, man. It does. It breaks me down. It makes me feel like shit that I can't just have fun, all right? So now, you know, I wanted to go on this show and just have a good time like everyone else is entitled to. And instead, what's it got to be? It's got to be an interrogation, all right? But here's the thing. There's a difference between you're going in front of an audience that's genuinely curious, likely open-minded, not saying my detractors, because you know that they want to watch this and hear it, but to go in front of people who are essentially just hearing about all this bullshit for the first time, and they have genuine questions about it, okay? So that's the difference. It's different because you can go in with preconceived notions, but I feel like if I went and, you know, if Craig's sitting there and asking me questions, or Adam, that's the other co-host, or Travis, or whoever is there and asking me questions, it's more of from a curiosity, and actually I want to get some facts perspective. It's not, we're going into this with 400 negative preconceived notions about Phil, and we already believe them all. And no matter what he says or does, we hate him anyway, right? So I don't think that's the case. This is not a trap. This is not me going on Destiny's show where he's outright admitted that he was going to try to set up traps for me to make me look like shit. That's not what this podcast is at all. I feel like it's the actual complete opposite situation. People who are genuinely interested in talking to me and hearing my story, and they can make judgments for themselves. And again, I hope that people are watching from that 50-minute timestamp on here, Craig and the guys on the show. Hell, if you want to play this back on your show, I give you permission to. It's up to you. Yeah, if you want to ask me anything, go ahead. I will answer to the best of my ability. I will answer in a situation, you know, in a way that basically I'm not going to put myself at risk, and allow me to explain what I mean by that, because I will talk about this obviously on the show, okay? These people are so crazy. They do absolutely anything. They will take any little crumb of any piece of data and find a way to spin it into something that can harm me and my family. And they have. You know, this started off 10 years ago with a stupid thing called This Is How You Don't Play, which I'm sure I'm going to talk about, how it all started. And literally since then, it's just become such a viral meme on YouTube that Phil is a person, a lol cow who is to be hurt at every moment, and no one ever has to feel bad about it, because we have basically said so many negative things about him. Some of them have to eventually be true, and therefore we're justified in the level of harassment that he's received over the years, and he doesn't deserve any kind of positivity, any kind of success, hell, any even kind of safety. Destroy all that. He should be literally tortured for the rest of his life for the horrible, horrible things that he's done. That's this mentality on the internet that there is. And, you know, it's painful, man. It's, you know, I just want to do my thing. I just want to have fun with an audience, a small audience. I don't have a big audience. I'm not some giant YouTuber, man. I just want to do something with my guys here and my gals, and not have to worry about people getting harassed, about all this stuff. It's like, I just want to be on a podcast. Now, here comes the harassment brigade, like within moments of dropping the name, right? So, here's the thing, all right? As long as there is buy-in that these guys are going to make sure that there is no kind of risk. And what I mean by that is no doxing, right? No discussion of stuff that has absolutely positively nothing to do with me. Because this is the problem, is these people have gone so far down the rabbit hole of information to try to harass people, not only just me directly, but family members and other people on the periphery that have nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So you know what's going to happen is I'm going to go on the show, and immediately the view count's going to skyrocket 5 times with my detractors, and they're going to come in, they're going to be doing disgusting memes about myself and my wife. They're going to be posting up personal information. They're going to be doing every nasty, disgusting possible thing. I mean, just to give you an example of it. It's already happened, and Craig doesn't even know, so I hope he's going to hear this and he'll kind of understand. This morning on the podcast, he brought up someone who is a regular of these streams, who is a regular victim of harassment from my detractors. This person has literally never done a thing wrong on my streams. They are one of the nicest people that comes to my content all the time, all right? But my detractors hate this person because he talks a lot, and he likes to get my attention, and he likes to have conversation with me because my streams are personable. So they go and they harass this person online. All right, I'll say his name's Derek. Everyone knows his name is Derek, right? Now, they basically harass this guy, and they go into all his social media shit and everything. That's no one's business. Just because you're an attendee of a stream doesn't mean someone should harass this guy. This guy is not a whale, because Craig had the misconception this guy's a whale. He doesn't contribute. He's just a viewer. He doesn't contribute financially at all. He just sits here and talks nicely with me every day, right? If you didn't pry into his personal life, you would never know anything negative about the guy. But these people are sick. So they go into his social media accounts, they look at this stuff, and they harass him. So what did they do? They went on the Side Scrollers podcast, and they said, oh, you got to ask Phil about Derek, because he's a whale of Phil's, and he has this and that going on in his personal life. I was like, wait, what? That's not even true. Like, that's blatant misinformation. Already it's begun. I mean, we're 2 days out from being announced that I'm on the show, and already Craig and crew have been bombarded with complete misinformation about me, about how I operate, about my viewers. What a shock, right? Because here's the thing. Who has the vested interest in this appearance? The detractors do, right? My fans do it. Oh, it's nice that Phil's going to appear on this show. Yeah, we'll watch it. This will be cool. But they already have a place to be with me every day, my own content, right? So it's not the fans that are going to be jumping on. It's going to be the detractors that are going to go, oh, this is our opportunity to sink our hooks into someone else who hasn't heard about all the crap about DSP, and to let them believe it. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it because it really is. It's a cultish mentality. It's this weird cult-like mentality of hate. And it started 10 years ago with this is how you don't play, and it just continued. It's wave after wave. There's always another reason. When one thing passes, the next thing comes up to continue the system of harassment that's happened to me for now over a decade. And it has to stop at some point, but at this point, I don't see how it ever will, because when you're in a system that promotes it, YouTube promotes it, YouTube promotes harassment, there is no way to protect yourself against it besides being rich and suing people directly for defamation or slander. And I'm not rich, so I can't do that. I can't sue the hundreds to thousands of people who have said these horrible things about me over the years. So I just ignore it. And I like I said, I sit in my lane, I make my own content, and I ignore it. So what happens? It thrives, it propagates, it festers, it becomes worse and worse, right? But what can I do? If I address it, you're giving attention to it, it just gets worse. If you ignore it, it festers, it just gets worse. There's no solution to it. So this is not fair that in 2023, years removed from some of the horrendous things that I've openly admitted I did a decade ago, that I get this kind of harassment, and now I just want to do something fun. I can't do it. Phil's not allowed to have fun. Fun on the internet for Phil? No, screw him. We got to ruin it. So they have. Effectively, that's what they've done. They've turned this to that. It should have been a fun podcast appearance, and turned it into, well, now this has to be an interrogation of Phil, because, God forbid that anyone actually just judge something at face value, have him on as a guest, as opposed to, now we must have 400 questions of horrible accusations addressed before we even get to anything fun. I don't know. So here's the thing. I said to Craig, if you can guarantee me the safety of me and my family and everyone around, meaning no doxing, no leaking of any personal information, no allowing people to post nasty, ridiculous things about this, you know what I'm saying? Then I would definitely say I'm in line with it. And by the way, here's the other thing, because this is what the idiot detractors say. Phil would never go on a show and just let anyone ask him anything. Absolutely not. Why? Why wouldn't I? What's the point of having someone talk to you if you're going to limit the conversation, right? When I went on the Quartering, all right, his show, people made all this shit up about, oh, Phil told the Quartering he can't ask this, he can't ask this, he can't ask this. Oh, by the way, the Quartering paid Phil to be on the show. Wrong, 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 and wrong. None of that was true, but they just believed it anyway. And it's actually become, they think it's fact that that interview was staged, it wasn't real, and he paid me to be on the show. It's all lies. But they think it's true because they're stupid. They talk themselves into believing things that aren't true, and then that's their truth. that they then post all over the internet and benefit from. Clickbait views, money, ad revenue, contributions to propagate the hate. Right now, this very podcast is being rebroadcast by likely a dozen different people, all talking junk over it with their own viewers, where my content gives them content. And look at my content. Is it toxic? And this is what I will say too, because I'm going to stop talking about this in a second, but I got to get this off my chest. And again, I hope that Craig and the side scrollers people are watching this. If you want to know the truth about me and my content, watch some of it. And I don't mean watch the detractor montage, watch this guy who only critiques the negative things or whatever. And it doesn't have to be a long segment. Watch me play a game for, a live stream that I'm doing of a game for an hour. Whether it's I would recommend a late night chill stream, only because the late night streams that I do are more relaxed. I have a lot more interaction with my smaller audience. On the late streams, the daytime streams typically end up being a lot more focused on the game, especially because I play a lot of new releases on the earlier streams. But I would say the late night streams are the best ones. And I'm not saying you have to sit here and watch it for 2-3 for straight hours. Sit down for 20 minutes and just watch how the stream goes, watch the interactions, and then judging on that, make some judgments for yourself. And if you feel that I'm a terrible person, I'm a terrible gamer, I'm a scammer, I'm a loser, I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is, go right ahead and make that judgment. It's your right to have your own subjective take on whatever. The problem is there's no objectivity on the internet about me. It's literally all take the selective moments that make him look bad, turn that into what we say about him, push that out as a dramatic narrative, profit. And this has been for 10 years that I've had to put up with this in my life. I've seen my whole personal life get turned upside down because of it. Things fall apart, friendships, relationships. I can't even network with people. I can't even do co-streams with other people. I can't have co-op partners. I've tried and people have gotten harassed because of it. You know what I mean? Like it's really to a situation where I can't even do normal things. People say, why don't you have good patron goals? I can't even do patron goals. If I do them, people have threatened to get my Patreon shut down. You know what I mean? Like, it's all this stuff. It's like, it's crazy what it's come into. So if I'm going to show up on the show, I do need to buy in that everything's going to be safe. Not that I go on the show and this is the shooting gallery for my haters to come and they're going to be posting every disgusting, toxic, personal thing in the chat that's nothing to do with anything of relevance just to hurt us. You know what I'm saying? That has to not be allowed. Okay, that's number one. All right, and number two, I hate the fact that it's going to have to be an interrogation of me. I would rather have it be, let's talk about me for an hour. Ask me whatever you want. I'll answer to the best of my ability. No, I'm not going to reveal legal records, financial records. I'm not going to open up my accounts and put myself to public exposure, because that's exactly the reason my detractors want me to go on a show. They want me to say, Phil, open up everything possible. Because here's the thing, because they either win or they win. Here's why they want that. Reason number one, if I open up all my financials and I open up my phone and I open up my accounts and I show you things, maybe there's evidence, something there, that something they've said, all the horrendous things they've said about me, maybe one of them was true. And if they even get that 1 out of 1 million is correct, they've been right 100% all along. They've been justified in all the hatred and vitriol they've tossed at me during the years. That's what they're looking for. Okay? That's what they're looking for. Or the flip side of this, let's say, for example, nothing happens. There's nothing there because I'm telling the truth. What they will do is take the information now that they have and they will harass me with it. And I will tell a story. I would like to tell a story on the show. I've told it here many times recently, and I'll just say the car repair story. That's all I'll say. And I'll tell that story on the show so people can maybe understand my perspective better on that show. Okay? So, as of right now, as long as there is buy-in from the side scrollers guys, I would appear on the show probably around mid-March. We're still working out the details. I'm still trying to work to see if my setup will work with their streaming stuff that they do. And I guess what it's going to end up being is, it's going to be like an hour of me just answering questions to a new audience. I mean, yes, all my detractors will be there, but there's a new audience too to kind of learn about me for the first time and to honestly try to answer these questions to the best of my ability. And be truthful and honest, but not also be so ridiculous. Like, that's the thing. This is not Phil's going to open up his personal life to everyone, and now he ruins it because he inadvertently revealed stuff, and now people will not stop harassing him. I've been through it. I've been through identity theft already. I can't go through it again. It really hurt. People, dude, I swear, people think I'm making shit up, man. It hurts. 2 years ago, again, I was in a situation, I'm sorry, man, I'm getting emotional, but 2 years ago, I was in a situation where I was almost good to go again. I was almost to the point where after all of this stuff going down, I was like, wow, financially, I'm in a good position. If things keep going the way they're going, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. All right? I said that many times on my streams. There's finally, with all these financial problems I've had going through bankruptcy, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. Things are going to go good. What happened? My detractors harassed Twitch to the point where they kicked me out of the partner program for literally doing nothing. I did nothing to warrant it. Then they committed identity theft, hacked accounts, and I lost tons of money. I lost money, thousands of dollars, right? And it's like, oh, but that's fine because it's Phil. Oh, that's fine because it's me. Oh, I see. Only because it's me. And then, well, I don't understand. Why does Phil have to keep asking for contributions from his audience? That's fucking why. Because you scumbags ruin my life over and over. That's why. If you would leave me alone for 1 year, things would likely level out and be fine. But you guys keep creating the problem. Why? So that you can then make more content about it. That's why. It's this endless cycle. Create the problems for Phil, see the misery, cover the misery, profit. It's an endless cycle. And I've had enough of it, man. It has to end at some point. But, you know, for now, I try to do my best to ignore it. I try to do my best to just push forward positively here on my own channels and make content for my audience that likes me for who I am and what I do. And they, you know, again, everyone can make their own subjective choices and their own subjective judgments about me. But, you know, at the end of the day, I have a fan base who likes me and likes my content and want to support it. And I'm happy for that. I'm happy that I have a very good home life, okay, outside of this that I don't share with you guys. So that's the point. Is that if I appear on the show, I want it to be a fair and honest discussion. Ask me whatever the hell you want. I don't care. Ask me any question. I will answer to the best of my ability, but at the same time, I can't do what they want. They want me to put myself in giant situations of risk that will ruin my life, where I've already had parts of my life messed up and ruined because of them. They want that again, or they want it even worse. That's their aim here. That if everything was proven that I was innocent of every single thing, which, by the way, that's never going to happen. Of course, I've made mistakes. Of course, there have been little white lies. Of course, there's been these things over the years that have happened. It's called human nature, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not flawless. I've made mistakes and done horrible things. But at the same time, is it grounds to try to ruin me constantly? That I have to hide here on my channel and I can't even appear on a podcast because here comes the harassment to them. You know what I'm saying? So let's see how it goes. Right now, again, we're hashing out the details. Again, I give them permission if they wanted to play this clip, 30-minute clip, or even highlight it. It's up to them if they want to play it on the show or not. I'm cool with that. I'm actually looking forward to it. Now, here's the thing, and I do want to publicly apologize to the two people who I've been talking with over the last 4 months about possibly doing like a full-length kind of documentary style thing about me and having my input. This is not what this is, nor was this ever intending to be this. I never thought being invited on a Side Scrollers podcast and then all of a sudden now it's an interview. I didn't even expect that. I didn't think that's what it was going to be. And I kind of feel bad because these are two people who I've talked with for months. I feel like they're really good people who wanted to cover me fairly, not to say that they were ever going to pull any punches. And I think one day we are going to do that. There's going to be that kind of a thing on the internet that will be a fair shake of Phil. Right now, I'm not ready for that. But at least this interview will be something where they want to ask questions, go for it, man. You know, ask me those questions and go from there. But again, yeah, some people might say, well, that's kind of messed up, Phil. You talking for months, you were going to do it. You even said you were talking with people. Now you're doing it with Side Scrollers. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. It was supposed to be, if I was going to do it, I was going to do it with someone who was going to do a bigger style project. And now it's kind of just turned into, well, let's do a quick interview, right? So I guess we'll see how it goes. All right. So anyway, that's where it is as of now. I'm sure now there's going to be a million questions. People are going to, I see people contributing. They're going to ask me questions about it. That's fine. I'll answer questions. Now, that's the end of this segment. Thanks for watching. Crew of Side, or if it's just Craig watching this or crew of Side Scrollers, whoever watched, thanks, and we'll see what happens.